Coco Gauff's racket outburst at Australian Open triggers fresh debate as 4x Slam winner weighs in. The 2026 Australian Open has sparked an unexpected off-court storm after Coco Gauff's racket-smashing moment went viral, igniting a wider debate on player privacy. As both Gauff and IGA Swiatek voiced their concerns, the conversation gathered momentum. Now, Kim Clijsters has weighed in, adding her perspective as scrutiny around athletes' personal space intensifies. In a recent interview with Sport.pl, Kim Clijsters spoke about the growing debate over privacy in tennis. The four-time Grand Slam champion said the issue has two sides. It gives fans a realistic insight into what tennis life is like behind the scenes. We all share the same corridors, the same changing rooms, and we eat in the same place. You see your rivals every day. For the content, it's very good. However, Clijsters also spoke from a player's perspective. She said constant access can feel uncomfortable. Privacy, she noted, still matters to athletes. However, approaching it as a player, I'm from the old school. I value privacy and I wouldn't want every moment to be recorded, especially the unpleasant ones. The discussion intensified after Coco Gauff's early exit from the Australian Open. She lost 1-6, 2-6 to 12th seed Alina Svitolina in under an hour. But what followed drew even more attention. After the match, Gauff tried to release her frustration. She smashed her racket in an area she believed had no cameras. However, security footage appeared online and quickly spread on social media. Gauff later reacted with an awkward laugh during her press conference. She admitted she thought the space was private. I tried going somewhere where there are no cameras, she said. The incident also drew support from fellow players. World number 1 IGA Swiatek spoke strongly about the issue. She questioned the level of constant monitoring. The thing is, the question is like, are we tennis players, or are we like animals in the zoo where they are observed, like even when they poop, she said during the press conference. She added that players need space to manage emotions and routines. It would be nice to have some privacy, and it would be nice also to, I don't know, have your own process and not always be observed, she added. As the debate grows louder, more former players have also shared their concerns. Many believe the balance between fan access and player privacy needs urgent attention in modern tennis. Danielle Collins clarifies stance amid Coco Gauff privacy controversy. The privacy debate that began at the AO continues to grow. Several players and former stars have now spoken about the lack of personal space in modern tennis. Danielle Collins is among those who have openly supported Coco Gauff. Speaking on the Big T podcast with Brad Gilbert and Coco Vandeweghe, Collins shared her concerns. She said players are constantly exposed, even during emotional moments. According to her, the situation has gone too far. I think it's a huge privacy issue. I mean, first of all, we got to have some area that we can go to after a match and be able to kind of go through our thoughts, go through our different emotions, and not feel like we're being watched every second of the day. Collins also compared tennis with other sports. She believes tennis gives far more behind-the-scenes access than most competitions. That level of visibility, she said, can be unfair. I don't see any other sports right now having the access that tennis has to the behind-the-scenes as we have. And I just think it's so unfair to the players not being able to step off the court and being able to have their time to themselves and their own privacy. The discussion also turned to where players should release their emotions. Some critics suggested that Gauff should have gone to the locker room. Jessica Pegula explained why that idea does not make practical sense. On a recent episode of the Players Box podcast, she addressed the criticism. She questioned whether the locker room was even a realistic option. I saw the comments, everyone's like, well, why didn't you just go to the locker room? Pegula then pointed out the practical limitations. The locker room environment is not designed for emotional outbursts or equipment damage. Why would you go to the locker room and do that? That would have been so. First of all, there's carpet. What are you going to smash it into? A wall. Serena Williams also defended Gauff and other athletes facing criticism. She highlighted the emotional pressure players carry, especially at Grand Slams. As an athlete, you work your whole life, in particular, for tennis for these Grand Slams. And when you get there, you have these expectations, You have this pressure. You go in there, thinking you're going to win. And when it doesn't happen, then things might be a little rough on that day. With more voices joining the conversation, the issue continues to gain attention. Players want space to process losses and emotions without constant surveillance. Many now hope tournament organizers will review policies and introduce stronger privacy measures. Smash, snap, and spark. Coco Gauff's emotional outburst at the Australian Open and the broader debate it ignited. In the world of elite sport, raw emotion is nothing new. But when one of tennis's brightest young stars, Coco Gauff, let her frustration spill into a racket-smashing moment off the court at the Australian Open, the reaction was far more than a typical headline. What transpired was a multi-layered conversation about athlete privacy, media culture, emotional authenticity, and the evolving expectations placed on players in a digital age. While a racket snapping against concrete might seem, at first glance, a simple act of frustration, it became a flashpoint for deeper issues that extend far beyond the baseline. 1. The moment that became a movement. During her quarterfinal match at the 2026 Australian Open against Alina Svitolina, Coco Gauff, world number 3 and two-time Grand Slam champion, struggled. She lost 1-6, 2-6 in under an hour, a surprisingly one-sided result given her talent and previous performances. After leaving the court, Gauff attempted to process her disappointment quietly. She believed she had moved into a part of the venue away from video cameras and chose to vent her frustration by smashing her racket against a concrete surface. Unfortunately for her, that moment was caught on camera and quickly circulated online. Rather than a private release of emotion, the clip became a viral sensation, prompting reactions ranging from sympathy to criticism. Yet it was Gauff's own response that turned the conversation in a direction far more profound than mere spectacle. 2. Are we tennis players or animals in a zoo? What really transformed this incident into a debate was not the outburst itself, but Gauff's reflections on it. In the ensuing press conference, she highlighted a concern that resonated with many athletes: the lack of privacy even in moments they assume to be private. Gauff explained that she had intentionally tried to find a place away from cameras, saying she didn't want to smash a racket on court where fans and children could see it. Instead, she walked into a quieter corridor, but still ended up being filmed. She described it as an invasion of the personal space that players often assume exists in tournament venues. Her provocative question stuck: are we tennis players, or are we like animals in a zoo where they are observed even when they poop? While clearly a rhetorical,